Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to News Dose, and of course, we just had the Switch 2 reveal. It's finally 100% official. I talked about it in a previous video, so if you missed that video, make sure to check it out. But now, we have even more details coming in, including a very, very welcome piece of news that hopefully will put fans at peace of mind. So we're going to get into all of that, as well as another alleged secret Xbox game. It actually sounds like they might have multiple secret games to reveal, and possibly very soon, including a game from one of their staple franchises. Is this rumor actually true, though? That really is the main question. So we're going to talk about that here in just a bit. First, though, I do want to thank my supporters on Patreon and on YouTube memberships. Thank you just so much for your support, and you will get this video through early access. Let's just go and get right into things, though, starting off with Shu Yoshida, who formerly worked over at PlayStation. He is without a doubt one of the most prominent names in PlayStation history, and I feel like he's really one of the last key PlayStation members that the game community genuinely connected with. It always felt like he was, quote-unquote, for the players, and that's now more clear than ever before. In a new interview with Kinda Funny Games, he was asked about what he would have done if he was still in charge of PlayStation's first-party games. And check this out. Genki wrote this up over on Twitter and said Shu Yoshida says that if he was still in charge of PlayStation First Party, he would have tried to resist the PlayStation Live service push and joked that maybe that's why they removed him. So, I mean, if there was ever any question about if he was pushed out of PlayStation, this kind of sadly answers that question. And honestly, I'm furious about this. The absolute disrespect to a legend like Shu Yoshida is beyond infuriating. Sometimes people look at my channel and they say, oh, this is just an Xbox channel. And that honestly could not be further from the truth. I actually really do love PlayStation games and their history, but that's also the more reason that I'm concerned about their new leadership and the direction that they're currently taking the brand in. I've not been secretive about that because I don't like their live service focus, because that's not what Sony specializes in. I mean, if they want to make an occasional live service game, I think that's a smart thing to do. Go for that. But it shouldn't be their number one priority. That's all I'm saying here. PlayStation has always been special because of their single-player output, the stories that they tell, and the great characters that they create. And Yoshida seems to have understood that. Meanwhile, we have these suits at the top like Herman Holst and previously Jim Ryan, and they're, in my opinion, prioritizing the wrong things. They're turning their back on what made PlayStation so special in the first place. And that's also why we're currently seeing a drought in their first-party lineup. This should have never happened, and it probably wouldn't have happened under Yoshida's lead. But under Herman Holst, they just kind of come off as a go big or go home type of company, with a lot of live service games in between. I mean, I don't know, but I do know who I would prefer as the PlayStation boss. So I wish Yoshida the absolute best going forward. He seems like an authentic person that actually cares about games. We need more of that in the game industry, and not just people who simply care about dollar signs. And I think whatever he decides to do next, he will continue to do great work. Now, obviously, we just had the Switch 2 reveal again, finally. And I'd say if there's anything to be let down by, it's the fact that they have such a large gap between its hardware reveal and the Switch 2 Direct, which will be on April 2nd. So, I mean, we're talking about nearly 3 months of waiting and probably more rumors and leaks and things like that. But thankfully, it sounds like we won't actually have to wait that long for Switch 2 reveals. Jason Schreier posted this up online and said, if you're wondering, one reason to randomly drop a Switch 2 teaser 2.5 months ahead of the proper reveal would be to allow third-party companies to start officially announcing their games for the system. Now, I actually mentioned this in my previous video as well, but it's nice to hear this from a real insider, and I think it just makes a lot of sense. I imagine that a lot of these companies were a little bit irritated by the lack of an official reveal because they themselves have to hype up their own games as well. They're relying on the Switch 2 to be a big income source for them, and some of these companies probably want to announce their Switch 2 games sooner rather than later. I mean, pretty much every Switch 2 reveal from this point forward will likely get a lot of attention. So if anything, the next few months should still be a lot of fun. I mean, I know most of us buy Nintendo consoles for their first-party games, but I'm still expecting some really exciting third-party games as well. I genuinely believe that the Switch 2 is going to impress a lot of people by what it's capable of, and I'm fully expecting games like ReFantazio, Yooka-Replay, and the Final Fantasy remakes, to name a few. So I'm really excited to see what's in store from third parties. Now let's go talk about Xbox here for a moment, because they have a big week coming ahead of them with their Developer Direct. And even more so, it sounds like they might have some really exciting games for 2025 that they've yet to confirm. Both Everwild and the Oblivion remake seems very plausible by this point. But we are currently hearing a lot of rumors that there are more unconfirmed games beyond just those. Once again, we're hearing from Jez Corden that the upcoming Xbox Developer Direct could actually be bigger than what they're currently letting on. You can see here in a response to Clobril, he said maybe more than one surprise too. Now, just based on the rumors that we've been hearing, we can make a few educated predictions here. Nate the Hate recently said that Final Fantasy 16 and 7 Remake will finally release for Xbox in 2025. So they could confirm those, as well as 7 Rebirth, which he believes will release in 2026. I mean, that in itself would be massive, massive news. We also recently heard that they have an unannounced Japanese game from a beloved franchise to reveal. Now, it's kind of hard to tell what this one will exactly be. It really could be anything from the long-rumored Final Fantasy IX remake, it could be Persona 6, a new Ninja Gaiden game, Kingdom Hearts 4, or just something else entirely that's completely unexpected. However, there's suddenly a new rumor going around, and because this is spreading like wildfire right now, I thought I would at least give you my thoughts about it, and that's that Xbox allegedly has another major game planned for 2025, and if this one turns out to be true, then longtime Xbox fans are going to be fairly happy. We can see this here written up on Insider Gaming, and check this out. It says, a new claim states that Halo Studios is seemingly gearing up to announce a new Halo game this year. Spotted by GameRanks, industry insider Rebs Gaming recently spoke about the imminent announcement of an upcoming Halo game. His tweet revealed that the studio has been playtesting future games for the franchise on a weekly basis. Rebs Gaming added, since they are this far in development, I expect at least one new Halo game announcement this year. Now, to be fair, if this is actually true, then my expectation is that it's either a spin-off or it's a smaller project. I mean, I've seen a lot of speculation that this could be for the rumored Halo Combat Evolved remake that we heard about last year. Tom Warren reported on that in 2024, but at the time of writing, he mentioned that it was in the early days of development. So that leads me to believe that this is something else, unless he was just simply wrong, which personally I'm not expecting in this case. So what I'd got to recommend is taking this news with a large grain of salt. Now, maybe I'd be a little bit more confident if this was coming from a source that I'm a little bit more familiar with or somebody that could corroborate it, but so far that hasn't happened. Again, though, I mean, this leak has just been spreading like wildfire. Obviously, Insider Gaming reported on it, and that means that it has a lot of eyes on it. So I thought we would at least talk about it, and, you know, if anything else here, I would like a new ODST style of game. That would be pretty cool, but I don't know. Take this one with a grain of salt, and we'll just kind of see what happens. Let me know what you think, though. Are you buying this rumor, or do you think it's wrong? Either which way, though, that Xbox Developer Direct next week does sound pretty exciting, or at least how Jez Corden has been hyping it up, to say the least. Now, let's go back to the Switch 2 reveal here for a second, because as exciting as it is to get a new console reveal, I feel like in the modern age of gaming, there's also a lot of stress that comes with these console launches, because what we've seen these past 4+ years is that new consoles sell out insanely fast. And they're difficult to buy because of scalpers. That's been a big problem. However, it sounds like Nintendo is prepared to tackle that exact issue. According to Bloomberg, Nintendo's supply chain network is preparing to sell 20+ million consoles in just its first year alone. Now, to just kind of put that into perspective, the original Switch in 2017 sold 13 million units for its first year. And then the PlayStation 5 sold 15 million for its first year. So, I mean, the Switch 2 should be much better prepared for those consoles, but even still, I would still recommend getting your pre-order in as early as possible. I feel like that if you want the Switch 2, you'll likely have a good chance at getting it sometime in 2025 just because they have a lot of units in the pipeline. But those early days could still possibly be a little bit chaotic as everybody's trying to flood to the pre-orders as quick as possible. You know, this is probably one of the most hyped up console launches of all time, and it's coming off of the third most successful console ever made. So even if it's 20 plus million units for its first year, it's still likely that there will be some chaos that goes along with those early day sales. Now, that's just my own prediction, but this is at the very least a good sign that Nintendo is preparing the best they possibly can to rid as many scalpers as they can. Let's go take a look at the poll of the day, though, where I asked you all to make a prediction. Which month do you think the Switch 2 will launch in? And most of you seem to expect June. July and beyond also received a large portion of the votes, and I think that's a reasonable prediction to make. Jake Randall on Twitter spotted that the release date for Switch 2 cannot be earlier than June 1st, as there is a hands-on preview in Seoul on June 1st. So, hey, that's actually pretty good detective skills, and he might be onto something here. I mean, personally, I was hoping for an April release because I want this thing sooner rather than later. But at the very least here, as long as we don't have to wait until the holiday period, then I think most people, including myself, will be more than happy. Anyways, though, that's going to be it for this episode. But until next time, make sure to subscribe, ring that bell, and peace out.